Alright, we got the rims back. Jake had powder coated them for me. And I have to say, I am extremely pleased with how they turned out. And of course they are shrink wrapped and it looks beautiful. That's how it's going to be. Now, keep in mind they are from a 1960. They've been around a while, so they're not perfect. But look at that. I mean, you can see some pitting, some of the areas. But overall, this will help preserve them rather nicely. Again, there's some pitting around the valve stem hole. And this side, you can really see it. He did run it through a sandblaster a couple times, and we're still looking at this. So, we're going to call this good enough, and we're going to slap some tires on it and go from there. So, let me think here. It should be on like this. Alright. Appreciate your patience setting these. Come on.
They're a real pain.
Well, they're a tight fit because they need to be, I guess, is the takeaway from it. It's been quite a few years since I had to do this, and these are 8-plies. Woohoo! They're not going to bend for nothing. The originals were only 3-ply, these are 8. So it's a much thicker ag tire.
You got it on?
Yep, first half anyway. And now, when I had it on the 15-inch rims, I thought I had it on the right ones, and I didn't. So, here we are. Oh, wait a minute. Valve stem's coming out that side. So, gotcha. Okay, I need to pull it back out, put it on the other side. Whoops! That's not what I wanted. However, deal with it. I was wondering about that. So the valve stem comes through here. So this would be facing out, but the tread's going the wrong way.
What do you mean?
So for ag tires, agricultural tires, the directions these point in is literally the direction the machine goes. This has to be on the outside of the tire. Actually, no, this will work for the other side. Never mind. I stand corrected by myself. Nope, that'll work. That'll work. That'll work. Okay. So, well, I will trust you with your editing. I have no idea what you're talking about. So I can literally hold the stem in, which is what holds the air in. If that stem is out against, it's spring-loaded. If it's out against, it seals the air inside. So you would literally have to hold that in while squeezing the inner tube.
Yeah, so.
Yes, I only have 2 hands.
Yeah, true.
There are times, I would love to be able to have an assistant. And I have one, and she's holding a camera, and she's looking really pretty doing it. Naturally, why don't I, since I have...
Working?
Well, there's air coming out.
Thought that would work.
this. And the nice thing is, last Sunday we visited Jake and had supper with them.
Fun.
And I know, right? He made some really good ribs on his grill. Jake's got the Millers. He did a lot to look out for me, especially when I was dealing with a lot of the symptoms of PTSD. And when loud noises bothered me, he took good care of me. He looked out for me. He took me outside when it hit. He's just a really great guy. Made sure the lunch buzzers weren't too loud when they were first installed. Literally spend extra company money just to accommodate me. What a great guy. Anyway, Jake made some really good ribs and did some sweet potatoes. And, oh my. Anyway, we dropped them off then. Yeah, we dropped it off on a Sunday, imagine. It's like I told him, look, we're not working. I'm literally setting them down here. You pick them up on Monday. I'm not trying to do any work on the day of rest. It's not my intention. At first he wasn't sure, but he seemed to understand where I was coming from. Anyway, so I dropped them off last Sunday, and I picked them up. Hey, that's an old auto car. And I picked them up on my way home from work yesterday. Excuse me, I need to clean my nose. I love those old trucks.
Daddy,
Yes, love.
it was really funny when one time I saw you bouncing on a tire. It was really funny. You look like a little kid when you bounce on tires.
Yeah, 40-year-old child.
Yeah, you look like a little
Man-child.
toddler. Just bouncing on a bed. Bouncy,
Wow.
bouncy.
Hey, you know what? Us grown-ups need to have fun too. Just
I guess so.
what do you mean you guess? Wait till you're a grown-up.
Grown-ups are supposed to be serious.
No one told me that. I missed the memo.
Yeah,
Is that why
you
people
really
don't take me
do.
seriously?
Oh,
I have too
yeah.
much fun.
Yeah. No, actually, I like when you have fun.
I love having fun.
Yeah, I
Listen,
bet.
This Wednesday night was Ephrata Parade night.
I was in it.
Where?
Yeah.
And you were very, very happy to be there too. We saw that glow on you. We were like, that's our girl. Anyway, so much to say. We gave away 5 cases of chicken, grilled it on the Meadow Creek, and handed it out. It's the second year doing that. And I'm just absolutely elated that well, I shouldn't say no. Not much rain fell. There's a little bit of a misting there for a bit, but it went good. 5 cases gone in an hour. I mean, an hour. And then we see these people that, honestly, in my mind, they looked homeless. They looked like they'd been living under a bridge. Dirty clothes, dirty bodies. Looked very shamed. And I'm looking at them like, I really wish they would have come sooner. And I really wish I had more chicken. But I was out.
What about the sides?
Yeah, the Andrew's neighbor guy, I don't know a name. He had promised, well, he had said he would do sides, right?
He didn't.
He did not. So I don't know what happened there. It's disappointing considering how much more we could have done to help.
Do you know why?
No, I never actually met the guy.
Oh.
Andrew was handling that. But look, sometimes we agree to do things before we don't count the cost, not the cost. And this project, I thought I had an idea of what I was going to spend. And then turned out the motor needed replaced. The original was a Continental AU8, and the threads on the spark plug stripped. I literally took the spark plug out in order to check it and to put a little bit of lube, a little bit of WD-40 into the chamber. I didn't know how long it had been sitting there. The guy said he had not had it running. I don't know how long he had it. So I went to put the spark plug back in and it just kept turning. So all of a sudden I need to do a helicoil kit, and then I realized it's a 1960 Continental. They have not made parts for the AU8 since the early 70s. And the only place to get parts is Collectors. So I got a Predator motor mounted on there from Harbor Freight. Maybe a little too cheap and convenient, but hey, you do what you can with what you have. Anyway, so I thought I would maybe have $300-400 into the tractor. These tires were $200. These rims, they only cost me $15 to get them powder coated, but the 15-inch rims were $50 with the counterweights, and now I'd have to get different tires, and I don't want to spend another $200, and the motor was $200, and yada yada yada. So this guy backed out, back to the main point, he backed out of getting the sides. We were thinking chips and drinks and maybe coleslaw or something, I don't know. And we were seriously looking at this, like, let's make this an event. Like, people look at it and go, yes! And, well, it didn't go that way. I mean, people were extremely grateful. I had this little girl, I'm just going to say, clearly from immigrants. And I don't say that in a derogatory way, I'm just making an observation because, first of all, she was extremely shy. From what I'm told, she didn't speak much English. She can understand more than she spoke. Anyway, the lady, the little girl was black as midnight, and this white lady comes up. Not that race has anything to do with it, but just to give you a better picture of what was going on. This girl might have been 6 or 7 or so, and she was on a bike. She stayed on the other side of the intersection. It was right at the corner of 2 roads, just down from the judge's stand. I don't want to say too much because it's not my house, it's not my property. I want to respect our friends and their right to privacy. But she literally stood behind her bike and pulled her so the handlebars were blocking her face, like she's trying to hide behind her bike. And I'm like, okay, what's that girl doing? And this white lady comes over and she's like, this girl's family lives just down from us, and you know, they're hungry. They heard that my wife had plastered it all over Facebook and Instagram, and she's good like that. She knows how to network a little bit better than I do in that scheme of things. What am I doing wrong? But long story short, she's like, yeah, they want like 4 pieces of chicken. I said, well, how many people are in their house? And she starts listing off names that Iso, Iwa, just odd sounding names, and I'm like, okay, so I heard 6 or 7 names. I'm like, you want 4 pieces for 6 or 7 people? Like, oh, it's fine, they'll share. And I'm like, dude, at that point we still had plenty. And I said, listen, lady, I'm gonna send you 6 pieces, and you tell them that if they need more, they can come and ask. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, man, I see the powder coating coming off. That is not what I wanted. So, long story short, this family got a couple, I think I said 6 pieces. And the point was not, oh, look what I can do. The point was, if y'all are hungry, ask. You know, Scripture tells us, ask and you shall receive. You know, you can't help someone meet a need that they don't let you know it is a need. And we have some friends that they've fallen on hard times. We have a lot of friends like that. I think we all know people like that in this day and age. Oh, anyway, we've helped them out a few times. I kind of flew out of my element here. When I was doing small engine repair, we had a machine to do this for us. And I crushed my cap.
Wait, what cap?
For the valve stem to keep the dirt out of it.
How are you gonna...
Oh, you can get them cheap. What do you... Yeah.
What do you mean?
You can get them cheap. That's not a problem. Why, oh why, doth thou not desire to cooperate? Ooh. I need to get a mallet.
Like that? Wait.
Ooh. Nice rim.
Yeah, it's yours.
I know it. I have a mallet. Aha! All right. Oh, I had Jake do the tines for the cultivator. They're so badly pitted. I don't know if you can see that right, but it's basically more to preserve them than anything. It's not a showpiece, it's a working tractor. And we got the brackets to mount them.
You were gonna do the mallet.
But anyway. So, I'm running around doing other stuff as well, putting out other fires. So the sweeper needed some help, and so did my wife, and that's not gonna work. Anyway, we look at these opportunities to serve our community. Made in India. I didn't see that coming. For us, serving our community is extremely important. We are firm believers in radical hospitality. And if you don't know what that is, look at the Moravian Church around the time of the Revolution, the American Revolution. Man, that's tearing it up. Ooh, I don't like that.
Oh.
Shoot. Oh, Lord, give me wisdom. Anyway. Wisdom every day, don't we? Those Moravians were considered radical by the other colonists, primarily because they would have small groups, and one group, for example, bought a farm in New England. I couldn't tell you exactly where anymore, but they were known for being a bit eccentric, and they would they voted 2 of their people to go as missionaries to the slaves, the African slaves in the Caribbean. And I love this story. It's a testimony, really. But these 2 men decided to go down to look where the slaves were treated the absolute worst. And they wanted to go down there as white men of Germanic descent. Actually, 2 of them actually were born in Germany. Just a thought. I'm not sure how I'm going to get this thing done. Anyway. My point is, these guys go down there and they tried to sell themselves into slavery. They literally went to a slave dealer and they said, listen, our concern is for the souls of these slaves. And the slave traders basically said, no, that's not happening. You're not doing this. And hold on, let me get some lumber. They argued with this guy for several days, just sell us. And he said, dude, all you have to do is find a way to get off the chains, which isn't that hard. And I'm hoping that helps it pop over. And it does not. So we're gonna have to go back the other way, I guess. And so they were literally begging the slave trader, give us a chance. To minister to these slaves. And the guy came out right and said, first of all, you're just Africans. What's your problem? Like, this actually was an affront to him and his beliefs. Now, I'm not going to get into was he right or wrong. Mindsets of the day were completely different. Understandings were different. And I have no desire to condemn anyone. Look, I made my mistakes in life, and there's people who remember. And sometimes when I meet those people, they kind of give me a look and they know, you used to go by this name and it meant this. And it bothers me. Not because they remind me, but because I remember who I was. I remember the sin I was involved in. And just remembering the sin I was involved in brings on a sense of guilt and shame. Not that I take it, but I wasn't always a nice guy. I'll say that. So, anyway, these 2 missionaries literally campaigned to be sold into slavery alongside the Africans so they could minister. Imagine this. Born and raised in Germany, immigrated to Holland. From Holland came to America. Holland was always a stop-off point. The Catholic State Church and the Reformed State Church did not like Anabaptists fleeing Europe because then they couldn't be forced back into Catholicism. Again, different mindsets, different time era, whole different thing. So, long story short, they willingly try to get into slavery, knowing how bad these Africans are being treated. And this is my problem with the whole Marxist agenda saying all white people are born racist. These were men that were willingly trying to sell themselves into slavery to save the souls of these Africans. That at least someone would minister to them. They basically were told, if you keep up this line, we're going to throw you into prison. Not slavery, we're just going to put you in prison and we're going to let you rot there. Like, you will die there. It's that simple. And so they did what they could. Meanwhile, here in America and up in New England, the farm, they had a farm there. I think they had 8 people. So these 2 gentlemen were threatened with imprisonment. And their brothers at the farm in New England basically they were living. So the guys in the field, the missionaries in the field, would write letters back. Hi, Miss Kitty. Would write letters back to their brothers on the farm and say, hey, these are the conditions we're living under. Okay? We're sleeping in the dirt, we're eating moldy bread, we're drinking water out of puddles. That's hypothetical, I don't know if they literally said that, but just to give you an idea. So everyone on the farm who was raising money to support these missionaries in the field would literally sleep the exact same way. They could have a nice straw bed, and the missionaries are sleeping on the floor. Okay, we're sleeping on the floor. They don't have blankets, we don't have blankets. We strive and we suffer together. End of story. And that in itself is absolutely phenomenal. That's what we should be doing. During the American Revolution, the secular realm basically said either you are for the revolutionists, the Continentals, or you're for the king. So, are you a rebel or a loyalist? And these Moravians said, we are for Christ. And they were told outright, you are too radical. You need to tone it down. And in order to be accepted by their community, they toned it down. They lost the fire that God had given them. That's sad. That is absolutely sad. But why give up your faith? Why give up that radical feel simply for the ideals of what mankind is willing to give you? Because in all reality, mankind is not going to care for your soul. They're not going to care for you when you're down and out. They're not going to care for you when push comes to shove and things get really bad. They are not going to be the ones to care for you. They're not going to be the ones to try and sell themselves into slavery to help people they've never met. They just know there's humans on the Caribbean islands being mistreated in horrific ways that we can't comprehend because we've never seen such suffering. We've only heard about it. We cannot put ourselves in those Africans' shoes, so to speak, simply because we've never actually remotely experienced anything like that. Now, our Anabaptist ancestors, they have. That's why our ancestors left Europe. Because of the torture and the torment and all the terrible things that happened, all the persecutions at the hands of the state Catholic Church and the state Reformed Church. And what that means is the church and the state were one. So the Catholic Church owned the kings and the princes and the princesses and the queens, and they owned the royalty of the nobles. So whatever the Pope said went. And unfortunately, if you disagreed with the Pope, that's a good way of getting yourself into a lot of trouble. Well, the Anabaptists basically disagreed with the Pope on a lot of things. And it wasn't just, we want to rebel and do our own thing. It was Johann Gutenberg printed a Bible in the German language. And so suddenly these Germans were like, what the Catholics have been teaching is not what Scripture says. How do we deal with that? And their solution was to break away from the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church saw them as heretics and promptly persecuted them. And persecution involved rape, torture, imprisonment, execution, drawn, quartering, hung, drowned, burned alive. What Catholics specialized in, burning people at the stake. And things got really, really dark for quite a few generations. Oh boy. I really should get someone to help me with this. Anyway, so much to say. Count the cost before you get started, so that when that time comes that you have to make those sacrifices that are painful, you actually know, hey, I knew this was coming. I knew things were going to get bad. I knew that one way or another, Satan's going to kick back at me, and I'm going to have to deal with it. So anyway, I'm going to pause the video for a minute and see. I do want to wrap that up. There's a lot to say. There's a lot to think about. However, when it comes to your faith, when it comes to projects you do, when it comes to everything, count the cost. Jesus outright said he's going to bring not peace, but division. Simply because there's going to be people coming against you saying this and that and the other thing. Oh, you're doing it wrong. This is wrong. That's wrong. That's not how we do. Or in the case of my extended family and my co-workers, so it's not wie unsere Leute dienen. That's not how our people do. God bless them. Either way. I don't hold it against them. That's their understanding. That's fine. I will admit, after a half-hour video, I'm still not done with the first tire, and it's a lot stiffer than I anticipated. So doing it actually on camera is going to end up probably being an hour or more, which I was hoping to have them done in a half hour for both, but ooh, Lord have mercy. The tires are actually marked as tubeless, and the rims are actually designed with tubes in mind. So they are made in India. Got them off of Amazon, which I tried to, let's see, right there, tubeless. And yet, it was shipped with tubes. So, when it's done, that hood will be completely removed. There's the new Predator engine. And I did find out, when I had loosened this up to slide this back, the frame rails broke right in here, top and bottom. So it's this tube steel with a bolt hole in the center, like this one for this, and it's broken there. So I'm not sure how I'm going to fix that just yet. I want to introduce you. This is Sunshine. Say hello. Meow. Yeah. He's basically an emotional support hobo cat that lives on my porch and begs for food every day. No. Never mind, he used to bring mice and birds on our doorstep as a gift. He's a great cat. Anyway, so much to say. The hood will not fit down over the new Predator motor. This is the 212. 6.5 horsepower. I'm not gonna keep the original fuel tank in there simply because this has its own fuel tank. Man, it gets dirty as dust from the mill. I mean, look at this. Just brand new. Ugh, so disgusting. Anyway, thankfully the shaft was the same size, so that's good. I am going to call a friend and see what we can do about this last little lip here. I should be using a tire changing machine. God help me, I don't have access to one just now, and I didn't think about it till it was too late. But anyway, there's my darling Gabriella.
And the kitty.
Holding Sunshine the cat. And he could care less. Meow. Alright, so that is it for right now. We're going to keep you updated a little bit. Not trying to get too up in your face, but trying to have some fun too. I used to do a lot more teaching and mentoring than I do in the last few years since I'm full-time at work. I wish I could get into that a little more. We're working on it. At the same point, I'm going to have to cut back on hours at work because there's only so many hours in a week. However, we need to find a good balance. Hello, Sunshine. We're going to have to find a good balance between work, ministry, and playtime. Which, this is a mixture, I believe, of the work and the play. simply because these projects are not, I'm just kicking up my feet and enjoying a jigsaw puzzle or something like that. This is literally putting together a machine that I hope to be gardening with in the spring. So, keep in touch, keep watching if you want. If I'm boring, that's fine. I love me. Gabi loves me. My ladies love me.
And Sunshine loves
And Sunshine loves me because I give him food. You see that stare? That's Sunshine. Yep, meow. He's a lot of fun. Anyway, so much to say. We are doing a lot more community outreach oriented stuff as well. Oh, I don't know. I think I showed you guys. I'm not sure. I got a pig roaster. Hoping to do some Thanksgiving cooking on that. But yeah, in my fourth and final closing. That's a preacher joke. Anyway, we'll catch y'all later. Go in peace.